maybe maybe Rachel will be showing up also. You never know. Anyway, shalom to everyone. Great to be back and to be alive after a crazy drive from Tel Aviv. And Rachel was with me, and so she should be bringing me a cup of coffee and some seltzer, and that's my gasoline for the next hour and a few minutes. And what shall I say? I think the happiest news that we had was the release of Idan yesterday, and I just wish we could get the other 20 live people. Want to come say hello? Here's Rachel. You should be cheering. She never shows up for these things.
Rachel, hi.
Hi, Rachel.
Susan Pellegrini is also there.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Rachel.
Long time no see, huh?
Oh, yeah. But you look good. Look the same.
No,
Yeah, you look wonderful.
thanks. I'm trying to hold myself well. Hope to see all of you.
That would be wonderful.
How was your trip to the hospital today?
It was okay. I made some tests, and they give me all kind of herb drink.
Oh, good.
And I have to go through a diet, and I don't know what to
The whole
say.
program.
It's a lot of work to do on myself. Okay, guys, I love you, all of you, and we just came, and I want to tell you that I missed all of you.
We miss you. We miss you too.
Thank you. Hope you come to Israel soon.
Yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd
love to.
guys, thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good day,
Bye,
Rachel.
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 God bless.
Relax. Good to be alive.
That was a nice treat.
You know what? I was telling her the whole time. She knew that I was late for the Zoom, and she was counting the minutes on the GPS as we were getting closer to Jerusalem. That the minutes were getting shorter and shorter, and we're getting closer and closer. So she was very, very happy about that, and me too. But anyway, so you know, one of the things, a short commentary about the Israeli health system. Rachel is very, very sharp. Rachel suffered from many, many things over the last 55 years that I know her. She goes to the doctor in the socialized Obamacare type system that we have here, and she says, "I know what I have this, and this." And basically, they say to her, "No, we don't cover that. We don't cover this. We don't cover that." And so I said to Rachel, I think we have insurance for this, but even if we don't, you know, you're 76, and they write you off when you get to a certain age. And so I took her to like the specialists of the specialists in Israel, costs a lot of money. And I don't give a damn. I want them. They sat down with her. I was in the meeting, and they did a few tests. They have certain equipment that they tested her today. And they said, everything you said is right. Why doesn't the Kupat Cholim, why doesn't the health clinic take care of it? And we know why. So, you know, so we said, whatever it takes, do it. I don't want my wife dropping dead because of malpractice by the, you know, or the shortcomings of the health system. Anyway, so I'm very happy. We went, we did it, came back. And I'm here on top, a little bit late, but you'll forgive it. As the Blues Brothers said in the movie, we're on a mission from God. So it was good that it turned out fine. So like I said, you know, we were very, very happy that Idan Alexander, American passport holder, but he's Israeli. and he was serving in Golani, which is a very important unit in the army. And he was supposed to get on a plane and go to Doha and kiss the hand of the terrorist in Doha. And the hospital here in Tel Aviv would not let him go. They said, you are not in any condition to travel after 580 days as a prisoner of the Hamas. And so he's undergoing a lot of tests now, and he's home. And now we're still waiting for 20 more prisoners who are still alive. And I think it's 34 bodies that we're supposed to be getting back. And if you ask me, what do I think is going to happen? I know that Witkoff and Burl, Bowler, whatever his name is, are here in Israel now meeting with the families of the hostages. And but I think that my guessulation is that the Israeli army is going to march in a few days. We're going to let President Trump get home, and we're going to go in and finish the job. Many people are saying, well, Trump, wants to do business and there has to be peace. The war has to be over. So there's one of two possibilities. Either Israel surrenders, which is what the whole Arab world wants, or we go in and we wipe them out. And my guess is we're going to wipe them out. And all the top generals who are on TV say 2 weeks, it's over. 2 weeks, the Israeli army goes in, and we may lose the other 20 people, but you cannot sacrifice the well-being of the state of Israel to a group of terrorists because of 20 people. War is war. And there were many cases in World War II that thousands and thousands of Allied soldiers died because of different reasons, but it was for the cause of the war. And so I hate to say this because every soldier, which the 20 who are left are all soldiers, are all dear to us, but we cannot allow this terrorist entity, Hamas, to have its borders back and then be a few hundred yards away from all our kibbutzim and all our moshavim and all our towns. This time we have to go in and finish the job. And I think that's what we're going to do. I mean, that's my guess, unless President Trump puts his foot down. But all our generals were on TV are saying, even if Trump puts his foot down, when Biden put his foot down and said, don't, we went ahead and did it anyway because that was what the country needed. And the country needs now for Hamas to be gone. Any Gaza Arabs who want to go with the Hamas can leave. Whoever wants to stay, I imagine there will be special criteria, swearing an oath of allegiance to the Jewish state. If they don't, they will be shipped out. So I will say, and I've said this before, we have 7-front war. So this first front, Gaza, will be totally neutralized, I think, in 2 to 3 weeks. We cannot continue living like this. The Israeli soldiers and the reserves are on the point of breaking. They cannot take it anymore. We want our soldiers to be released from the army. We want this campaign over. The American government has said that they will give us distribution companies to hand out the food. The distribution companies will be surrounded by Israeli troops so that Hamas cannot get near them or hurt anyone. And so I think, and I'm praying, that this will be over probably within a month. So that's regarding Gaza. Regarding Lebanon, we see some good signs that the Lebanese ethnic groups, you can't say Lebanese because there is no such thing as Lebanese. You have Lebanese ethnic groups. You have Christians, you have Sunnis, and you have Druze. They all want the Shiite Hezbollah people to be disarmed and brought under control. Iran, on the other hand, while the United States is negotiating with Iran, I don't know about what, wants to keep Hezbollah there. The world wants to keep Hamas there. We can't have any of these terrorist groups on our border anymore. An interesting point, Shara, who is also known as Julani, not the mayor of New York, Ashara he says he wants to make peace with Israel, but he's ISIS, he's a terrorist. So he has even offered President Trump to build a Trump Tower in Damascus. Meanwhile, we have sworn not to turn our backs on the Druze. We will be defending them. We consider them like our own people. Changing the subject a little, but it comes back. Yesterday, I saw, maybe for the 100th time, I saw the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston, the original Cecil B. DeMille movie, and they show Moses. I almost cried a few times. That movie was so well done. You can see the Ten Commandments 100 times, and you never get tired of it. But we saw where Moses was taken in by Jethro and his 7 daughters, and Jethro is the father of the Druze, and the Druze know it, and the Druze are like family for us. By the way, the Arabs are also like family from us because they're descended from Ishmael. But you have to remember that Midian was also one of the sons of Abraham through Keturah. And so we're very, very tied. We're tied to anybody who wants to make peace with us. The Druze know what will happen to them if they are not tied to Israel. They will be wiped out by the Sunni Muslims. And you have to remember that the Druze will not say, that Muhammad was the greatest of the prophets. This is a cardinal offense. The Druze say that Jethro was the greatest of all the prophets. And you know something? In our Holy Torah, holy to the Jews and Christians, Jethro is mentioned a number of times, and there's never a bad word about him. So Jethro kind of becomes the father of Moses. And the Druze know it. The Jews know these things. The problem with the Jews and the rabbis is that instead of saying that Keturah was one of the wives of Abraham, they say no. Keturah is another name for Hagar, and it's not true. So I once got into a lot of trouble with a Chabad rabbi in Phoenix because I said in front of everybody, I said, what he's saying is nonsense. Abraham had 3 major wives. He had Hagar, who brought Ishmael. He had Sarah, who brought Isaac. And he had Keturah, who he married when he was like 137, who brought him Midian and a whole bunch of other kids. And they were all sent away. So the rabbis have some damn-fangled ideology, which is wrong. And everywhere I am, when I hear it, I get up and shout. I said, it's wrong. That Keturah is not some reincarnation of Hagar. So you have to understand something. When I go to synagogue, I almost don't like to go to synagogue anymore because the rabbis say some of the weirdest things which make no sense historically. It's all fables. Or as we say in Yiddish, and Susan would understand that, Bubamaisis. We have a lot of Bubamaisis coming out of these rabbis. I know I'm rambling, but there's another thing that drives me crazy. That the children of Israel have a certain heritage from the Old Testament. When you read the Old Testament without trying to manipulate it, there are truths in there which have to be analyzed literally. And not because some rabbi said that because of some dream he had or something that happened, it's something else. No. And so there are things which have been totally distorted by the rabbis. We have also a problem now. There's some member of Knesset, I don't want to mention his name, but he's in the media all the time. And I call the media to fight with him. They won't get back to me. And he's saying that the law of return used to say until now, if you were half Jewish, you could move to Israel. Or even if you were 1/4 Jewish, you could move to Israel. And all of a sudden he's coming out and saying, no, we have to cancel the 1/4. The problem with that is, if you have one Jewish grandparent and you would be sent to the gas chambers by the Nazis, one Jewish grandparent, you should be allowed to move to Israel, even if you believe in Jesus Christ or Buddha or Confucius or whoever. So they know we want a Jewish Israel. We don't want all these strange ideas coming in. But the point is, we're going to get 10 million immigrants. Our population is going to grow from 10 million to 20 million imminently. I keep saying this. And it's not because I have an interest. I do have an interest that the party, the Bible Block Party, should succeed and have millions of followers. But the point is, why does God want Jews and people who are half Jews and people who are quarter Jews moving to Israel? Because we're going to have all these territories. And we're going to need people to move to Israel and live with us and work with us and fight in our army together with us. So I don't know if I'm that strange, or maybe some of these rabbis are strange. And I know many people, excuse me for ranting, I know many people who really don't give a damn what they are. And if the rabbis say convert, they'll convert. But the problem with the rabbis is people who say we want to convert to Judaism, the rabbis tell them where to go. And the rabbis won't help them. And so I think the rabbis are not doing their job. These are things that have to be fixed in the country. I'm not talking about forced conversion to Judaism. I'm just saying anyone who wishes to be Jewish should be encouraged to convert properly. I have a granddaughter in the Army who is an officer in education, and she helps people who want to be Jewish. They're soldiers in the Army. They want to be Jewish. And there's so much opposition from the rabbis, who are truly the most despicable and hateful people I've ever seen, all in the name of religion. And Israel is going perhaps in a direction that we don't want to see, maybe a Taliban form of Judaism. And so it's also one of the reasons why the Judeo-Christian Bible Block Party is so important. And anyway, I didn't want to, things are bubbling up inside of me, which have not been bubbling up for a long time, and it's all coming back now. Especially as talk of new elections is increasing. I personally pray that Netanyahu runs his full term until October 26th, but there is the possibility that we may have elections sooner. I don't know. I'm not a prophet, and I can't give you a timeline or anything, but I'm working on my ninth book now about Turkey and the Armageddon, and I don't know how. Every time I sit down to write, my wife calls me, my sons call me, my grandkids call me, friends call me, and every time if you've ever been a blacksmith. And you pump the fire, it gets nice and hot so you can start hammering away at the metal, and then somebody calls you to come and eat, and then the fire goes down again, and then you have to start all over again. So it's very frustrating for me. But it may be that something will happen here, and new elections will be called, and then I won't even be able to come to the States because I'll be already campaigning here in these new elections. So pray for God's will to be done on earth and in heaven. Meanwhile, I'm doing what I have to do. This morning, my son was supposed to take Rachel to the hospital. I said, no. I said, this is my responsibility. I will take mom to the hospital. And so we went, and she had her test. And praise God. So that's the story with Syria. And now Saudi Arabia. Now, I may say things which might hurt some feelings here, like I never do, But I heard somebody laughing there in the background. I have to tell you something. Last week, I think I spoke about Dallas Council on World Affairs. Was that with you guys, or was that with the Thursday group? I think it was the Thursday group.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
It was with you guys? And so I'm saying, that we won't let the Jews get in the way of our oil supplies. And that's what they said in 1991 in April, when I was at the Dallas Council on World Affairs. In other words, I said to them, what are you saying? There will be a Holocaust of the Jews again? And they said, yes. What do they care? So now I see something with President Trump, which, I don't know if President Trump is acting. I don't know if it's for real. But what do you say about Witkoff going bankrupt and what do you call it? The crazy ones, the ones with the Port Hamad. I'm having a senior moment.
Qatar.
Qatar. They gave Witkoff $600 million. And then they send Witkoff to be dealing with the families of the hostages, $600 million. Now Qatar has given President Trump a 747 worth $500 million. So what do you say about that? He wants to get trillions of dollars for the American economy from Saudi, from the Emirates, from Qatar. So why would he not sacrifice Israel when it comes to? They're going to say to Israel, we want a Palestinian state. We want the war to be over in Gaza. What do you think we're going to do?
Bobby,
Huh?
it's Elizabeth. I wanted to ask a question while we're on this subject. We were discussing on Shabbat, how did Netanyahu not get invited to the meeting that Trump is having with Qatar and Saudi Arabia and everything? What happened with that? And I mean, it's just very confusing how Netanyahu was not invited to that.
Listen, my dear Elizabeth, Netanyahu is the fly in the ointment. You want to get trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars from the Arabs. You don't bring the Prime Minister of Israel. You benignly ignore the Jews. Benignly, you do your business with the Arabs and don't get the Jews involved. Even though there are many generals in the Israeli army, ex-generals, who've gotten millions, maybe billions of dollars from Qatar. Qatar is good for bribing Jewish people, bribing the American universities, bribing American officials. But Trump is playing for high stakes now. And going to Saudi and Emirates and Qatar, all these different countries, it's kind of like operating on a very sick person without operating. America has a very sick economy at this time. Nobody really talks about it. I remember just before the elections, everybody was saying that the American dollar is going to collapse, the American economy is going to collapse. I still have a very bad feeling about a Holocaust in America of the Jewish people. Why? Because the Jewish people are communists.
Yes.
The Jewish people vote for the Democrats. Democrats are enemies of America. I'm a Jew and I'm saying it. And so I'm blacklisted on the Israeli radio and TV. I say things which must not be said. And I'll tell you something. We've got 6 million Jews in America. 2/3 of them are Democrats. 80% intermarriage with Christians. You know what? The Christians who marry Jews are better Jews than the Jews. Did you hear what I said? That's crazy.
Yes. Yes.
The Christians are the best Jews that there are. And I'll tell you something, the best Christians are Jews. Those who, you go to the churches, you find all these people who are Jewish, they go to church. Why? Because something was screwed up with the rabbis. Why did Jewish people abandon Judaism? You know what, Judaism, forgive me for saying, I'm a little angry today. I'm a little nuts. I took karate, not karate, I took judo. And I had a yellow belt. And I went because my 14 and 15-year-old sons didn't want to go anymore because there was nobody in their age group. So they were being tossed around by 17-year-olds and said, we're not going anymore. We're tired of being thrown around. I said, no, I'll come also. You're going to see how they'll throw me and it's not such a bad thing. So somebody who was 17 threw me, broke my shoulder because he couldn't lift. He wasn't strong enough to lift me. So karate, judo, kung fu is like Judaism. Not everybody was created to be a black belt. So many people just abandon it altogether and we get flabby because we have no religion, we have nothing. So I'm just saying, you know, Judaism is a very, very strict disciplinary system. If you can't take the discipline, you quit. I'm giving you the history of the Jewish people over the last 2,000 years. You know, don't be angry with me, but, you know, Christianity for me is like Judaism with a yellow belt. It doesn't have all the crazy, crazy laws that the Orthodox or rabbinic fanatic Judaism has. You know, Israel is crying out desperately for soldiers. And the ultra-Orthodox say, no way, we're not going into the army. Going to the army is worse than death. That's what the rabbis are teaching. I would take all those rabbis and shoot them. I promise you, you shoot 100 rabbis, all the yeshiva students will go into the army. Because these rabbis, all they want is money from the government for every student head that they get in their yeshiva. And it's something we inherited from Ben Gurion from 1949. These people are multiplying and multiplying and multiplying to achieve power, and then Israel will be destroyed because there won't be soldiers. Everyone will be Orthodox. Do you understand why there has to be a Judeo-Christian party? There are so many things that have to be fixed in this country. So, you know, like, I don't know how long I'm going to live. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. You know, I was watching the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston yesterday, and he's in the burning bush talking to God, and he says to God, who am I that you should send me to Pharaoh? And I don't know how to speak, and you send me to Pharaoh. So, you know, I say to God, who am I, you know? So God says to me, shut up and keep marching, stop complaining. So I stopped complaining. And one of the great pleasures in my life is doing this Zoom with you guys. Because among my own people, do you think anyone wants to hear what I'm saying? Terrible. I'm honest, I'm very happy that Aaron does post these Zooms every week. I don't know if he follows them. Maybe he'll censor me when he hears what I say. Israel has growing pains. We've had our 77th anniversary of the creation of the State of Israel. Our population has surpassed 10 million. You know, Rachel and I were in Tel Aviv at the hospital, and there's a chain of cheese stores. They sell cheese. But this one in the hospital, this branch, they make the most delicious sandwiches I ever had in my life. Today, with all these seeds and whole wheat bread and different types of cheese and tomatoes and hot pepper and everything. Burned my mouth out, but it was so good. So when Rachel finished at the doctor, I said, come down, you've got to have one of these sandwiches. And she loved it too. Everybody there spoke French. These were new immigrants who just came from France. And we have tens of thousands of Jewish people coming home from France because France is being taken over by the Muslims. I think also a lot of English people are coming. Jews from all over Europe. Jews are going to be coming from the States. You know, let me ask a question. You don't answer, just listen. It's a hypothetical question. What happens tomorrow if somebody assassinates Trump, God forbid? And I say God forbid because I love Trump. Do you know what kind of civil war you're going to have in America? And who are the first people to get killed? The Jews. Because the Jews are the most active in the Democrat Party. And you have to remember, the Jewish people are Democrats because of stuff that happened in Europe 100 years ago. But American patriots who are Christian, and I love them. I go to church every Sunday when I'm in the States. I'm in or 4 or 5 times a week, I'm in church. And I know these people, and I love them, but they're just pissed off with the Jews. And these Jews never went to church in their life. They never read the New Testament. So I'm telling you, any Jew who does not move to Israel, his life is in peril. And if a Jew is married to a Christian, the Christian's life is in peril because they're connected with a Jew. This is the result of 35 years of my life work in churches all over the world. I don't know why I'm ranting and raving like this, but you guys got me really excited, or maybe I got excited from a whole lot of other stuff that's going on. Going on to Iran, we also have a situation with Iran. We cannot sit back and allow Iran to have a nuclear project of any kind, because they're completely psychotic. They're completely crazy. So I have a feeling we're going to see a massive, massive attack on Gaza, finishing off the Hamas in 2-3 weeks. We're going to have a massive, massive attack on Iran. By the way, the Saudis are saying to the Americans, why do you want money from us if you can't even finish this business with Iran? Because Iran is a threat to Saudi. Iran is a threat to the Sunni Muslims. And if you are not our ally regarding Iran, why should we give money to somebody who's not our ally? I don't. I live here in Israel. I hear all these things from the Arabic press. Rachel sits with me, and she laughs half the time and she cries half the time. The thing is because people just don't get it. I think my birds are hearing me yelling. They think I'm singing, so they sing also. I don't know if you hear the bird, but anyway, so that's Saudi. Yemen, I think they got kind of plastered by the U.S. And the allies. Then when President Trump said, oh, no, we have an agreement with Yemen. So Israel has to go in because they're still shooting rockets at us. So things are a lot better than they were. And the horrible crimes of the Biden administration, where we did not get our weapons, we could not defend ourselves. Everything was measured. Every bomb was measured. And President Trump came through with all these weapons that we needed. So I don't know. Is he going to throw Israel under the bus? So there are people who think so. You know what? I'm going to change the subject. We still have some time. You all know I have this friend in Bangladesh. He's a Hindu. Bangladesh is a Muslim country, but they have minorities. They have Buddhists and Hindus and Christians. And he's saying that, okay, now you have to think for a moment. What's the problem with China? The problem with China is there are a bunch of islands called Spratly Islands in the South China Sea. These are disputed islands. They're disputed by Formosa, by Japan, by Indonesia, by Philippines, because there are trillions and trillions of dollars worth of gas and oil alongside those islands or under those islands. But the Chinese need the oil for their economy. What's the problem now with the United States? There's an island, I think I mentioned this in the past a few times, St. Martin. St. Martin is an island in the Gulf of Bengal. It belongs to Bangladesh. And President Biden came to Sharifa Hussein. I mean, nobody knows who Sharifa Hussein is, but she was democratically elected president of Bangladesh. She's a Muslim, but she was not a fanatic. And she was president of Bangladesh for 17 years. And Biden came and said, we want the island. If you give us the island, you'll stay in power. If you don't give us the island, you'll be overthrown. And she said, but that's an island that belongs to Bangladesh. If Bangladesh develops the oil, Bangladesh will not be one of the poorest countries anymore in the world. It will be one of the richest. So Biden and the United States and the deep state overthrew Sharifa Hussein, and they brought in a crazy ISIS Bangladeshi by name of Yunus. And Bangladesh now is killing the Christians, killing the Hindus, and killing the Buddhists because of the United States, because the fanatic Muslims made a deal with the U.S. about giving the islands of St. Martin to the United States. But then, as true Muslims, they went back on their word, and the United States did not get the island. But Sharifa Hussein, meanwhile, was out. So is the U.S. State Department and the deep state, are they stupid or what? They were stupid. Then you have all these battles going on the border with India, and The United States should be supporting India because India is the biggest democratic country in the world. But the United States is backing Pakistan. I don't understand this. Or actually, I do understand this. The Muslims have the money. So you do not go against a Muslim country. You don't go against Turkey. You don't go against Bangladesh. You don't go against Pakistan. These are horrible, horrible people, these Muslims. And they're killing anybody who's a Christian or a Jew or anything. I mean, there are no more Jews in these countries. So we're watching very carefully. His name is Rajiv Das. Rajiv Das sends me every day articles about being stabbed in the back by the United States because he's against the Muslims. You know what? Avi Lipkin is against the Muslims, not as people, but as ideology. So the United States is with the Muslims. So why would they not throw Israel under the bus to get $3-4 trillion of investment in the U.S. economy? So I wish Trump well. I wish the American economy well. But, Genesis 3, verse 12, or 12, verse 3, I will bless those who bless Israel, and I will curse those who curse Israel. President Trump has to be very careful. I don't want him to fail. So the question is, does he fail by losing $3 or $4 trillion, or does he fail by losing God? And if he loses God, he'll get lost. And if he gets lost, millions of Jews will have to flee America and come to Israel or go somewhere else. But they'll be tracked down wherever the Jews go. They'll be tracked down, and their Christian spouses will be persecuted and killed also. So we have to be very careful. We are riding the crest of a very major wave in Hawaii right now, but that wave eventually crashes. And so I think it would behoove American people to think and to warn the president never to turn his back on Israel. You turn your back on Israel, God turns his back on you. And this is the lesson that I had from the Dallas Council on World Affairs in April 1991. It's in my book. I don't know. I'm pouring out my heart to you. You're the only people I can talk to. You and Janice Sturkey's group on Thursday, and Franz Fricker. I'm going to be with him in another hour, less than an hour. So I don't know. God bless you all. I'm very pleased that at least I have you guys, and I don't know where the Zooms are going above and beyond. Before I forget, I'm going to forget if I don't. Lori, are you there?
Yes.
Do you know Mark Biltz?
No.
He has a ministry up in Seattle, or more correctly, Puyallup. You know where Puyallup is. And I've spoken many times up there. Well, I was at the hotel here in Jerusalem with him and his group. And my radio TV agent also is radio TV agent for Mark Biltz. And he said, "Oh, you do Zooms, have him as a guest on your Zoom." I said, "It's not up to me to have him as my guest. I have to ask Lori."
You don't have to ask me. This is your hour, not mine.
No, I know, but it's kind of like, Jerry McLaughlin, who's my radio TV agent, wants me very much to have him come and speak. And if you want, check him out, Mark Biltz. I don't know. He was with Hagee with the blood moon and things which I don't understand, but there are things that many Christians are interested in. And I said, I'm going to ask Lori because you might not want to have him. So if you want, check out Mark Biltz, and if you want, call Hagee, see what he says about him, because he's close to Hagee, or at least he was, as far as I know. But I was in his group, in Seattle just before I came back to Israel in March 2021 or March 2022. Okay, so I didn't say yes or no. I said I'd raise the subject, and you let me know. He's a very interesting pastor, and but he doesn't talk about the things that I talk. But he brought a group of his 30 or 40 of his people to Israel, so that's a good sign from a Christian pastor. So do you
Yeah,
want to check?
check him out. But this is, I mean, you're just using my Zoom number. You can do anything you want. This is your deal, not mine.
Yeah. Well, I'm neutral. I mean, I never had anyone else speak in my place. But he would be saying other things. He wouldn't be saying things that I say. But he's very, very well known in eschatological circles. Anyway, are you free to check him out? Just check him out and say yes or no. That's all.
Sure.
Okay, Mark Bills. I think he's Jewish because Bills. There's a village or a city, used to be, in Russia, Belz. And I think it's the same name. A lot of these Christians have Jewish names, they don't know it.
He's a Messianic Jew or a Hebrew roots teacher. He's
a
good.
Hebrew
Yeah.
roots teacher,
Yeah.
Mark Bills.
Yeah.
Or if you want Susan, you check and then you recommend him or not, so that, because Lori's a very...
I've listened to him, a lot. Yeah, there's nothing inherently wrong. Yeah, pretty good.
But we were seated next to each other at the dinner table yesterday, and Jerry McLaughlin, who's my agent, you know how you know when you begin to succeed in life? When everybody's coming and asking you for favors. So my agent was asking me for a favor to get Mark Biltz on my Zoom. So it seems I'm successful. Many times people are asking for my help for this or that. I don't know what they're asking for. I don't write it down. But used to be a time 35 years ago where I was asking people to help me because I was at the beginning of the work that I was doing. Now people are asking me to help them. So, okay. So if I'll put the task on your shoulders, Susan.
Well, I don't know what he would have to do, with being on your show. He has nothing. He's a teacher, Bible teacher. So
yeah,
you're either going to listen to him or listen to you, but it's two separate.
It's different subjects.
Yeah,
different subjects.
yeah.
Question is, okay, now, so what I could do is write to Jerry McLaughlin. He's in the hotel still. And maybe ask him, give me some major points that he wants to talk about, and then I'll send it to Lori, and then Lori will say if this interests her. Maybe it doesn't interest her. What do you say, Lori?
I'm open for whatever you want to do.
Listen, he's a good Christian teacher. I've worked with him on and off over the last 20, 25 years. So I don't know, whatever you want, but they caught me. And, when you're at a dinner table, you can't say no. You say, I'll check it out, But listen, he talks about the blood moon, for example. And that's something that John Hagee talks about a lot, the blood moon. Ask me. I don't know what the blood moon is all about, but it's okay. So, anyway, we can change the subject and go back. And by the way, are there any questions? I haven't taken any questions yet.
Avi, I had 3 questions written down, and you've already answered all of them just in talking. So,
okay. See, we have ESP between us.
I mean, the last one I had was this last topic you talked about, Iran. I'm just, wondering about this quote unquote deadline.
By the way, I will say something. I listen very closely to what Rajiv Das sends me, and he says, and I've said this on the Zoom many times, that there's a part of Iran and there's a part of Pakistan. It's the same people. They're called Baluchis, and they have all these rare earth minerals there. They have oil, they have gas, and they are absolutely destitute people because the Iranians and the Pakistanis suck out all of the wealth of the country, and the people are miserable. And so Rajiv said to me, what you need to do is break up Pakistan into parts, break up Iran up to parts, create a Kurdistan for the Kurds, create a Baluchistan for the Baluchis, and chop these crazy psychological misfit countries, Pakistan and Iran, bring them down inside so that they won't be so dangerous. One of the air attacks by India against Pakistan was at a town where there's one of the Pakistani nuclear centers, and they have their missiles there with nuclear warheads. And that's in Baluchistan. And so one of the things that Rajiv was saying, you've got to take out that missile thing, missile base, which is in Baluchistan. Chop Pakistan down to size, chop Iran down to size. But the way I see things, with all the money being offered the United States, I don't think the United States will do anything. And they still want the St. Martin Island, where all the gas. He said to me there are $3 trillion worth of oil and gas under St. Martin Island. Any other question? I saw a blip under Angela's name. Maybe you had a question.
Yeah, I had more of an observation just listening to what you were saying about Saudi, etc. Did you know? It was reported in The Hill that Elon Musk has accompanied Trump and on this trip to Saudi, and he's met the prince with him. But also there are other business leaders there, such as the FIFA president, someone from the Blackstone Group, BlackRock.
Oh, BlackRock is deep state.
Yeah, IBM, Boeing, Amazon CEO, LinkedIn co-founder. There's a bunch of people there. From what I've been reading around, I think Saudi Arabia, Qataris, they are very interested in AI, and they're wanting it in their governments, and obviously it's good for monitoring people. And these rare earth minerals you're referring to, they're going to need a lot of those. So oil is one thing, but the race is on for these rare earth minerals, for all this technology that is going to be needed for their envisioned future. And, I know in Trump's mind, I'm sure he would like to extend that Abraham Accord, maybe even try somehow to get Iran involved in that. And he's looking for peace, so he can further the interest of Mammon. It's difficult. I think Netanyahu is in the trigger hairs, and if he's not going to be compliant, it's not looking great, because as you say, the conditions for these Abrahamic Accords with Saudi is a two-state solution, which is obviously impossible. How can you even think that? It's just impossible. And EU countries are chiming the same bell again. So there's something else going on. I just can't put my finger right on it, but I don't get a good feeling about any of this.
And by the way, China and the United States have come to some kind of an agreement.
Oh, yeah. And China
Listen,
is meeting with
I'm in favor of
Turkey.
agreement and against war, But if it's a deep state equation, then we're out of the equation.
Mm,
And then God's in control.
yeah. Some biblical things on the horizon, I think.
I don't know what to tell you.
Mm,
Rachel, my wife Rachel, dear Rachel, is so concerned.
mm,
She loses sleep.
it's,
She loses sleep about it. And I say to her, why do you lose
mm,
sleep? God's in control. God's going to thwart anything that the enemy sets
yeah,
up, whoever
yeah.
the enemy is.
Yeah, and that is a clear theme that keeps coming through in all our prayer meetings and intercession things. It's coming through clear that he's not going to allow. Um, he's totally in control.
By the
Man
way,
plans, as they say, and God laughs.
one of the things I read yesterday in the news was that many people in the conservative English political circles have come to the United States and to Europe and saying, listen, we can't handle the Muslims anymore. We've lost.
Really?
And that the socialists they have no way of understanding the threat to England. So I don't know if you read that or heard about it yesterday, but I know you read about everything. So
I read things. Yeah. Yeah, there's a problem across Europe.
yeah.
And I think they know that, but they don't want anyone to say it. So,
Well, money makes the world go round.
mm, but there's little bits of it's whether, well, I don't know how far they want to agitate civilians. I don't know what they want from it all, but the world is all mixed up. It's a
You know,
mixed up place we live in now.
my wife Rachel went to France, I think it was 30, 40 years ago with her friend, and they were speaking Arabic, and
Yeah.
which is their language. And there were Arabs in Paris who came up to them and said, don't forget, France belongs to the Muslims. We're going to take it. It's ours now. It's not the Christians anymore.
Wow.
And it surprises me that I don't care. I'm a Jew. I don't care if you're a Catholic or a Protestant. But the Protestants in England and the Catholics in France, people are not really, they're sacrificing their country. And America could be sacrificing its country too. I see good signs from President Trump that these agitators who are Muslims and calling death to America, death to Israel, that he's expelling them. But there's so many billions of dollars that have been spent on American universities to bribe them. And that's the future of America. So America basically is a sinking ship unless Trump does some very serious purging of the universities. It's begun, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
And
The
just
statistics are
remember,
there.
Qatar will come to Trump and say, "We gave you that plane. We gave Witkoff $600 million. That's $1
Mm,
billion to two people. You tell
yeah,
me they're not bribed."
it's very, very odd that they would put
Yeah.
themselves in that position. Um, I don't know what to say. Some of the statistics, Belgium is something like 68, 70% um, ethnic, not, and much of Europe, the figures are a bit lower than that, but similar. There's, I don't know the British one off the top of my head, but I think Norway have just, a hotel in Norway, it was on the news this morning, has said they can't accommodate Israeli tourists because their
Well,
staff belongs.
not just Norway. Many countries, Switzerland also.
Wow,
Countries
that
that
was
will always
shocking,
consider
Reed.
our friends.
Yeah, that was shocking. So, yeah, is
Listen,
it?
we have Israeli professors, Israeli universities, who say that we're committing genocide against the poor people in Gaza. If Israeli professors say that, if Israeli politicians say that, if Israeli citizens who are very prominent in high tech and other things say that, so we're committing genocide. That's what the world is getting.
Yeah. And they say nothing of genocide in Sudan or elsewhere.
Nobody says anything. They kill
No.
Christians in Syria. Nobody says anything.
The beheading of the Christians in Nigeria, all the villages, and Boko Haram, and it's a scary world now. We live in a very scary world.
You know, I'm very frustrated because I've written 7 books. My very first book in 1997 has a whole chapter on Boko Haram in Nigeria and what Iran is doing, what the Palestinians are doing to their Christians and to their own people. Nobody cares. Only if a Jew does something, then everyone jumps because that's cool.
Yeah, that's widely reported, that comparison. And I think many writers, Melanie Phillips, she writes some very good articles,
It's
and
fantastic. Melanie Phillips is fantastic.
and there's a few others in the media, but it's fashionable. I think it's fashionable to have the view that Israel, or Zionism, is it Zionism they like to refer to, is the new evil. And of course all the students
The
believe
new
it,
old
and
evil.
they don't actually do any research, they just believe, swallow it like fish.
Listen, a lot of these students, so-called in American universities, they can't even find Israel on a map
Yeah,
because they never learned geography.
it's quite shocking how dumbed down the population is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's my 2 pence for today.
By the way, I would like to ask all of you in attendance, all of you who are listening, I have one prayer, and the prayer is pray for me that I can finish my 9th book about Turkey and the Armageddon, Lepanto 2, without interruptions, because I'm getting all these things. I don't want to mention names or anything, but it's very hard for me to concentrate writing the book when I have so many interruptions. Every time I get a stroke of genius, I get a telephone call, oh, come have dinner with us, or come here, or go there. Maybe I have to go to some Polynesian island or something and disconnect from everyone for 2-3 weeks and finish the book.
Yeah.
Or maybe the island of Jersey.
Or Hawaii, somewhere hot, somewhere nice.
You know the famous joke about the Jew from New York who went to Hawaii, and he always wanted to know what's the correct pronunciation. Is it Hawaii or Hawaii? And he got off the plane in Hawaii, and he saw Hawaiian, and he said, "Goes over, tell me. I've always wanted to know, is the correct pronunciation Hawaii or Hawaii?" He said, "Hawaii." So he said, "Thank you." So the Hawaiian says, "You're welcome."
Oh dear.
We have many jokes like that in Israel.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I'll certainly pray for you for some peace to write your book.
Yeah, thank you. God willing, I'll come to the States.
Yeah.
It keeps getting pushed off, and so God willing, I'll make it to the States and get those 2 books published, and also get them on the internet, because it seems there are a number of very, very strong markets for my kind of books, and it's faster, so I've got to do that on the internet.
Yeah. Okay, Avi. All the best.
Okay.
All the best.
Lori,
Yes, sir.
wrap it up.
Okay. Let's
Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you for forgiving me for my tardiness this time.